Welcome to Audio Mentors. Today, we will explore one of the most profound and transformative classics ever written, Walden by Henry David Thoreau. Published in 1854, this book is not just a reflection on nature, but a manifesto on simplicity, purpose, and true freedom. Through his 2-year experience living in a cabin near Walden Pond, Thoreau shares his thoughts on how we can live a fuller and more authentic life by disconnecting from the distractions of modern society and reconnecting with the essentials. His words, often poetic, invite us to reflect on our priorities, on what it truly means to live, and on how we find balance between our material and spiritual needs. In this exploration, we will break the book into broad and detailed chapters, extracting practical and meaningful lessons that we can apply in our daily lives. Prepare for a journey of introspection, connection with nature, and a renewed vision of what it means to live with purpose. Join us in this immersion in Walden, and discover how Thoreau's ideas can inspire you to simplify your life and find true freedom. Chapter 1. Living Deliberately. I wanted to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. Henry David Thoreau. Thoreau begins Walden explaining his decision to move to a cabin in the woods. He was not trying to escape society, but rather to discover how to live more intentionally and authentically. He wanted to simplify his existence to focus only on what was truly important. For him, life at Walden was an experiment to see if he could distill the essence of human existence. Key lesson: living deliberately means examining our daily choices and eliminating what is unnecessary. Thoreau challenges us to ask ourselves if we are living according to our priorities or simply following the frantic pace of society. Practical example: imagine you analyze your daily routine. You realize you spend hours checking social media or worrying about things you can't control. Inspired by Thoreau, you decide to replace these habits with more meaningful activities, such as reading, meditating, or working on a personal project. How to apply it in your life? Make a list of your most important priorities. Are they reflected in how you use your time? Simplify. Identify one activity or commitment that you can eliminate to make room for what truly matters. Dedicate daily time for introspection. Reflect on what gives you purpose and how you can live more intentionally. Chapter 2. The Economy of Life. The cost of something is the amount of life you're willing to give up for it. In this chapter, Thoreau shares the practical details of how he built his cabin and lived self-sufficiently. He spent only a few dollars on materials and grew his own food, demonstrating that a meaningful life does not require large expenses. For him, true economy was living with only what is essential and avoiding debt. Key lesson: money is a tool, not an end in itself. Thoreau teaches us to value time and freedom more than material goods. Practical example: review your personal finances and consider how much of your income goes toward things that are not essential. Could you cut unnecessary expenses to save more or work fewer hours? How to apply it in your life? Create a budget based on your essential needs, like housing, food, and transportation. Challenge your spending. Before buying something, ask yourself if you really need it or if you're giving in to an impulse. Learn a self-sufficient skill, like cooking, repairing things at home, or growing a garden, to reduce your expenses and increase your autonomy. Chapter 3. Nature as Teacher. I went to the woods because I wanted to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life. For Thoreau, nature is an infinite source of wisdom and spiritual renewal. By observing the forest, the lake, and the creatures around him, he finds parallels with human life. Nature teaches him about the cycles of life, patience, and resilience. Key lesson: a connection with nature not only teaches us to appreciate the beauty of the world but also helps us understand ourselves. Practical example: spend time outdoors, whether walking in a park or simply sitting in a garden. Observe how the trees, the sky, and the animals interact. What reflections does this experience inspire in you? How to apply it in your life? Make nature a regular part of your routine. Set aside weekly time to walk or meditate outdoors. Keep a natural observation journal. Record what you see, hear, and feel when you're in nature. Use nature as a metaphor. Reflect on how natural cycles can help you face changes or challenges in your life. Chapter 4. The Power of Solitude. I was never alone in the woods, for nature was always around me. Thoreau views solitude not as isolation, but as an opportunity to deepen his relationship with himself and the world. In a world full of distractions and noise, solitude allows him to find clarity and peace. Key lesson: solitude is not something to fear, but a powerful tool for introspection and personal growth. Practical example: imagine you spend a weekend disconnecting from technology and being alone. During this time, you reflect on your goals, read an inspiring book, and write in a journal. You discover that this space provides clarity and renewed energy. How to apply it in your life: schedule moments of solitude in your week, even if it's just 15 minutes a day. Use this time for reflective activities, such as journaling, meditating, or simply thinking. Avoid distractions. Keep your phone and other electronic devices out of reach during this time. Chapter 5. Living with Purpose. The masses lead lives of quiet desperation. Thoreau criticizes the way many people work tirelessly to accumulate material goods, sacrificing their time and happiness in the process. He urges us to seek a higher purpose, one based on our values and personal aspirations. Key lesson: purpose is not found in material things, but in living according to what truly matters to you. Practical example: reevaluate your professional goals. If you're working in a job that doesn't satisfy you, consider how you might align more with your passions, whether by changing careers, starting a side project, or redefining your current role. How to apply it in your life: make a list of your core values. Are you living in alignment with them? Set goals based on what gives you meaning, not just what generates income. Regularly reflect on whether your daily decisions reflect the purpose you seek. Chapter 6. The Wealth of Simplicity. A man is rich in proportion to the things he can afford to let go. For Thoreau, true wealth is not in accumulating possessions, but in simplifying our lives and learning to enjoy the simplest things. He finds satisfaction in the sunrise, the sound of water, and the small pleasures of daily life. Key lesson: happiness is not in what you possess, but in your ability to enjoy what you already have. Practical example: try a day of simplicity, where you eliminate any unnecessary activity or expense. Cook a simple meal at home, take a walk outdoors, and spend time reading or reflecting. How to apply it in your life: identify one possession or habit that does not add value to your life and eliminate it. Practice gratitude. Every day, write down 3 simple things you're thankful for. Spend one day a week without spending money and find ways to enjoy free activities. Chapter 7. Reflections on Simple Living. The wealth of a man is in the number of things he can do without. Thoreau reflects on how excessive consumption enslaves us. Rather than seeking wealth by accumulating material goods, he advocates for satisfaction with the essentials. According to him, living with less not only frees up resources but also provides a sense of inner peace. Key lesson: living simply does not mean sacrificing comfort, but redefining our needs to find freedom and purpose. Practical example: take inventory of your belongings and select the items you haven't used in the past year. Donate or sell what you don't need and notice how this process lightens your emotional load. Chapter 8. The Importance of Being Present. We do not simply live, we live intensely. Thoreau emphasizes the importance of being fully present in each moment. He states that many people live on autopilot, caught up in worries and routines, missing the richness of the present. In Walden, he finds joy in the small wonders of everyday life, like the song of a bird or the reflection of the sun on the water. Key lesson: the present is a gift that we often ignore. Learning to be fully present enhances our quality of life and our connection with the environment. Practical example: dedicate 5 minutes a day to observing your surroundings with full attention. Notice the colors, sounds, and textures without judging or analyzing, just experience them. Chapter 9. Connection with Physical Work. There is no better medicine for the soul than physical work. Thoreau finds meaning in daily physical activities, such as chopping wood or tending his garden. These simple tasks provide him with a connection to the land and a sense of self-sufficiency. Key lesson: physical work, far from being a burden, can be a form of meditation and a reminder of our connection with the natural world. Practical example: try doing a manual task, such as cooking from scratch, tending to a garden, or fixing something around the house. Reflect on how this activity connects you to the essentials. Chapter 10. Simplified Human Relationships. True friendship needs no adornment. Thoreau discusses how life in nature allowed him to redefine his human relationships. Without the distractions of modern life, he valued authentic connections based on respect and simplicity. Key lesson: deep and meaningful relationships do not require constant communication or demonstrations. What matters is the quality of the time shared. Practical example: call a friend or family member you haven't spoken to in a while. Focus on listening and sharing without technological distractions. Chapter 11. Nature as a Spiritual Refuge. In nature, we find an answer to questions we do not know how to ask. For Thoreau, nature is not only a physical space but a spiritual refuge where he finds peace and clarity. In Walden, he describes moments when simply contemplating the lake allowed him to resolve doubts and find inspiration. Key lesson: spending time in nature can be a form of meditation that helps us understand our emotions and priorities. Practical example: set aside a day for a trip to a nearby natural spot. Leave your phone and any distractions behind, and spend time simply observing and being present. Chapter 12. Resistance to Conformity. Most men lead lives of quiet desperation. Thoreau critiques conformity and the lack of questioning in society. Living like others, following imposed rules and expectations, leads to an unsatisfactory life. In his experience at Walden, he finds freedom by challenging these norms. Key lesson: questioning the established allows us to design a life more aligned with our values and desires. Practical example: reflect on a recent decision you made influenced by the opinion of others. Ask yourself if it truly reflects your values and what you could do differently in the future. Chapter 13. Spring as a Metaphor for Rebirth. Spring is a rebirth for both nature and the soul. Thoreau dedicates a significant moment in Walden to reflect on the arrival of spring, describing it as a rebirth for nature and a metaphor for humanity. As the ice on Walden Pond melts and the first flowers appear, Thoreau sees this change as an opportunity to leave behind the burdens of the past and start anew. For him, spring is not only a seasonal change but an invitation to renew ourselves internally. He observes how nature effortlessly transitions into a new phase, urging us to do the same in our lives. Key lesson: change is inevitable and necessary. Just as spring marks a new beginning in nature, we must use the transitions in our lives to grow and transform. Practical example: suppose you've been stuck in a routine or facing an emotional challenge. Use the arrival of spring as a reminder to release what no longer serves you and make room for new experiences. You could start a journal reflecting on what you want to leave behind and your goals for the new season. How to apply it in your life. Embrace change as an opportunity for personal growth. Reflect on what you need to let go of to move forward. Set new goals aligned with the renewal of this phase in your life. Emotional and physical cleaning can bring clarity and freedom. Let go of unnecessary things and make space for growth. Practical example: clear your house and mind of unnecessary things. Establish new goals for the season, whether it's starting a new project or building a positive habit. Spend time in nature, watching everything bloom, and allow it to inspire your own growth. Chapter 14. The Power of Dawn. Each dawn is a new opportunity to begin again. Thoreau finds a magical moment in the dawn, a symbol of hope and renewal. He describes how waking up early and witnessing the start of a new day allows him to connect with nature and reflect on his purpose. For him, every dawn represents a blank page, an opportunity to rewrite our story. He observes that many people waste this gift by staying stuck in the worries of the previous day, instead of embracing the possibilities of the present. Key lesson: starting the day with intention and calm can have a profound impact on our productivity and well-being. Practical example: Imagine adjusting your schedule to wake up before dawn. Instead of starting the day in a rush, dedicate the first hour to calm activities such as meditation, writing, or a walk outdoors. This time allows you to plan and approach the rest of your day with clarity. How to apply it in your life. Create a morning routine. Include activities that connect you with yourself and prepare you for the day. Wake up with gratitude. Before getting up, think of 3 things you're grateful for. Experiment with natural light. Observe how the landscape changes as the sun rises and use that experience as a meditation. Chapter 15. Self-sufficiency as an ideal. In self-sufficiency, we find freedom. Thoreau celebrates self-sufficiency as a source of freedom and empowerment. In Walden, he describes how he built his cabin, grew his own food, and depended as little as possible on others. For him, self-sufficiency is not only a way to save money but a way to reconnect with essential skills that strengthen character. Self-sufficiency also fosters creativity and ingenuity, as it forces us to find simple, practical solutions to everyday challenges. Key lesson: when we depend less on others to meet our needs, we gain more control over our life and happiness. Practical example: imagine deciding to grow a small garden at home. Although it may seem challenging at first, you quickly discover the satisfaction of eating something you've grown yourself. This experience not only reduces your expenses but also connects you to nature. How to apply it in your life. Learn a practical skill. Cook at home, fix something broken, or grow your own herbs. Value handmade items. Instead of buying, consider creating or repairing things yourself. Simplify your resources. Reflect on how you can depend less on external goods and more on your own skills. Chapter 16. Minimalism as a philosophy. Man is rich in proportion to the things he can afford to do without. Thoreau lived with very few possessions, claiming that this lifestyle allowed him to focus on what truly matters. For him, minimalism is not about sacrificing comfort but about making a conscious choice to eliminate the unnecessary to make room for the essential. Minimalism also frees the mind, as we are no longer constantly concerned with accumulating, maintaining, or protecting material possessions. Key lesson: by simplifying our life, we free up time and energy to focus on our passions and relationships. Practical example: try clearing an area of your home, such as your closet or desk. Donate or sell things you don't use and reorganize the space to make it more functional. Notice how this small change impacts your mood and productivity. How to apply it in your life. Do a deep cleaning. Dedicate a day to reviewing your belongings and getting rid of what you don't use. Avoid impulsive purchases. Before buying something, ask yourself if you really need it. Practice one in, one out. Every time you buy something new, get rid of something old. Chapter 17. The importance of listening. Listening is an art lost in the noise of modern life. Thoreau finds peace in the practice of listening, whether it is the sounds of nature, his own inner voice, or the words of others. In a world full of distractions, learning to listen attentively becomes an invaluable skill. Active listening not only improves our relationships but also helps us better understand our emotions and needs. Key lesson: the act of listening is a way to deeply connect with the world and with oneself. Practical example: spend 10 minutes a day consciously listening. This could mean paying attention to the sounds around you, such as the birds singing or the wind, or listening to a loved one without interrupting. How to apply it in your life. Practice active listening. In your conversations, focus completely on what the other person is saying without thinking about your response. Listen to nature, spend time in silence in a natural place, and pay attention to the sounds around you. Listen to your body. Observe how you feel physically and emotionally, without judgment. Chapter 18. Redefining success. Success is living according to your own terms. Thoreau challenges conventional notions of success, which are often based on money and status. For him, true success is living authentically, in harmony with your values and passions. In Walden, he finds success in his ability to live simply, connected with nature, and free from societal expectations. Key lesson: success is not something external, but an internal feeling of satisfaction and purpose. Practical example: reflect on your current goals. Ask yourself if they align with what you truly value or if they are influenced by the expectations of others. Redefine your priorities to create a more authentic life. How to apply it in your life. Write your personal definition of success. Make sure it reflects your values, not those of others. Reevaluate your goals. If a goal does not align with your definition of success, consider changing it. Celebrate small achievements. Success is not always in the big milestones, but in the daily steps towards a meaningful life. Chapter 19. The Central Message of Walden. Live deliberately, confronting only the essential facts of life. In this closing chapter, we revisit the main idea that Thoreau wants to convey throughout Walden, living with purpose and simplicity. Through his experience in the woods of Concord, Thoreau demonstrates that we can find a rich and meaningful life by eliminating distractions and focusing on the essential. Thoreau teaches us that many of the things we consider necessary, material possessions, social recognition, modern comforts, actually pull us away from happiness. True wealth lies in connection with nature, introspection, and the time dedicated to our passions and values. Practical example. Analyze your current life. Ask yourself, what things, activities, or commitments truly add value? What could you eliminate to live more intentionally? Key reflection. Simplicity is not a renunciation but a rediscovery. By simplifying our lives, we open ourselves to a deeper connection with ourselves and the world around us. Chapter 20. The Importance of Introspection. The greatest wealth is to know yourself. One of the greatest gifts Thoreau finds in Walden is the time for reflection. In a modern world full of distractions, this book reminds us of the importance of reserving moments for silence and introspection. Only by stopping can we discover what we truly want and need. Thoreau sees introspection not just as an act of reflection but as a path to authenticity. By disconnecting from external noise, he was able to align his life with his deepest values. Practical example. Set aside time every day to write in a journal or simply reflect in silence. Use this space to identify your emotions, thoughts, and aspirations. Key reflection. You cannot live a meaningful life if you do not take time to understand who you are and what you desire. Chapter 21. Nature as Teacher and Refuge. Nature needs nothing from us, but is always ready to teach us. Nature as a teacher and refuge. Nature needs nothing from us, but is always ready to teach us. Nature plays a fundamental role in Walden. For Thoreau, the forest is not just an environment, but a silent teacher offering lessons on patience, change, resilience, and beauty. Observing nature provides him with a spiritual connection and a sense of belonging to the world. By living in harmony with nature, Thoreau rediscovers the simplicity and abundance that the natural world can offer. Practical example. Spend a day in a nearby park or forest, free from technological distractions. Observe how the trees, animals, and elements interact with each other. Ask yourself what lessons you can learn from them about your own life. Key reflection. In a world full of artificial stimuli, nature reminds us of who we truly are. Chapter 22. Redefining Wealth and Success. You don't need much to be truly rich. Thoreau challenges conventional definitions of wealth and success. Instead of measuring success by the amount of material goods accumulated, he suggests that we should measure it by our ability to enjoy what we have, live according to our values, and find satisfaction in simple pleasures. This chapter invites us to reconsider our priorities. Are we working to accumulate things we don't need? Or are we building a life that truly makes us happy? Practical example. Define your own idea of wealth. It might include things like time for your passions, meaningful relationships, or connection with nature. Make a list and reflect on whether your current life aligns with these priorities. Key reflection. True wealth is not in what you own, but in how you experience life. Chapter 23. Living with Purpose and Freedom. True freedom is living according to your own terms. Thoreau teaches us that living with purpose means making decisions aligned with our values, rather than following societal expectations. In Walden, he found freedom by simplifying his life and focusing on what truly mattered. This chapter reminds us that we can live a more authentic life if we have the courage to break away from norms that no longer serve us. Freedom is not just economic, but emotional and spiritual. Practical example. Make a list of external expectations that you feel are limiting you. Reflect on which ones you can let go of to live more in alignment with your own desires and values. Key reflection. True freedom begins when you have the courage to live on your own terms. Chapter 24. Final summary, The Lessons of Walden. Live with intention, connect with nature, and simplify your life. In this final chapter, we recap the main teachings of Walden. Simplicity. Thoreau invites us to rid ourselves of the unnecessary to focus on the essential. Introspection, reflection, and solitude are fundamental for a fulfilling life. Connection with nature. By engaging with the natural world, we can find peace and wisdom. Redefinition of success. Success is not about accumulating things, but living a life that reflects our values. Autonomy and purpose. Living by our own rules gives us the freedom to be truly happy. Practical example. Imagine you decide to implement a Walden Week in your life. Reduce technological distractions, spend time outdoors, reflect in silence, and simplify your daily activities. Evaluate how these changes impact your well-being and perspective. Key reflection. The lessons of Walden are timeless. Although it was written in the 19th century, its teachings on simplicity, introspection, and connection with nature are more relevant than ever in the modern world. Closing thoughts. We've reached the end of this incredible journey through Walden by Henry David Thoreau. This book not only invites us to reflect on our priorities but also inspires us to live more simply, authentically, and connected to nature. If you enjoyed this content and believe these teachings can transform lives, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos, where we will continue exploring books that shift perspectives and help us grow. Also, share this video with your friends, family, or anyone who might benefit from these ideas. Sharing knowledge is a powerful way to connect and help others. Thank you for being part of this community at Audio Mentors. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll keep learning together. See you soon.